The Montreal Canadiens come out with a shootout win in one of the most thrilling games of the season. We're going to break down everything that happened in this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's hybrid news and game reaction edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, and this is my co-host, Jesse Poirier. And before we get into the video, we're doing great with subscribers. We're now down to only 75% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. We are so happy, so pleased that you guys are liking the content every single day. We know that you guys are clicking no matter what, and if you don't want to miss anything about the Habs, click here, click subscribe. We want to hit 5,000 by the end of the year, and we know you guys can help us out with that goal. Jesse, what a game that was last night. I mean, unfortunately, we couldn't do the quick post-game recap like we usually do, but oh man, do we have a lot to talk about today.
Wow, what an amazing game. You know, like, this is why not just me, not just you, everybody, just even fans from like other teams around the league are loving the Montreal Canadiens, our Habs right now. We just never have that say die attitude. We're always fighting to the very end. We're seeing the Habs magic in full effect.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, it feels even better that on a night like last night, we get a great hybrid. We get a player coming back and Mike Matheson scoring a goal. We get some depth goals there from that Dvorak and Gallagher line. But our stars still show up. Cole Caufield and Nick Suzuki still manage to steal the show. It feels like things are finally clicking for Montreal. I mean, we mentioned this before, but like, I've been super impressed with the depth in the last few games of Montreal. For a while there, it felt like the first line was it, and still feels like that at stretches. Even last night, just stretches in the game, you're like, man, that first line's the one getting it going, but not every other line is necessarily doing it. But man, I mean, just like, I don't know if we can even keep putting it into words, but how impressed are you with that top line, with Suzuki and Caufield in particular, and what they've managed to do night in and night out for this team?
Yeah, they're playing absolutely amazing. I am super impressed with them. I think it's just so amazing. You know, Kirby Dach, we're starting to get used to the habit of him just dishing beautiful pass after pass. I mean, you know, we see Suzuki, with beautiful passes once again, no finer than the one to tie it up at the end of the game. They're just playing amazing. Their chemistry together, Dach's composure on the ice. I mean, we're seeing what we're seeing from Caufield right now. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Josh. Viewers, let me know, like, is Cole Caufield, is it just me, or is he starting to look a lot like Alex Ovechkin right now? I mean, that second goal, to kind of tie things up right there at that left dot, that slapper, I mean, I've seen that before, and that was from number 8 for the Washington Capitals.
Not only did he do it once last night, he did it twice. I mean, it seems to be... he feels like LITE at times, and maybe not, and light in the sense that he weighs less than Ovechkin, because like he is just Ovechkin mini.
Ovechkin.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't know, like, earlier in the season he was fanning on those shots a bit. We know he fires it anytime he gets the chance, but like, he is a threat to score from everywhere on the ice. But that spot in particular, the Habs power play and just their ability when they're up a man or two in last night's case to just find him in that spot for those one-timers is, like you said, Ovechkin-esque. It's something that we've seen plenty of people do, like Stamkos and stuff, but just the way he follows through, the way his teammates look for him every single possession is definitely reminiscent of Ovi. And I will say, while Caufield is sniping these shots, he wouldn't have these opportunities if it wasn't for Suzuki and his like insane elite top of the top level of playmaking. And like I was saying to some of my buddies when he made that pass to Caufield, like, I mean, pardon the expression, but what balls on the guy to make that pass with like 3 seconds left on the clock, to know you only have 3 seconds left and to not just fire it last minute at the net. He knew Caufield was there. His time management was perfect. The pass was pinpoint and he set him up perfectly. Like, I mean, it's hard to pick one. I don't know if you can, but is there one that stands out more? Suzuki's playmaking or Caufield's goal scoring from last night?
They're like peanut butter and jam. Like, you can't really separate it. Like, I can't say, like you said, like, it's so intertwined. It seems like we found the perfect combination of players to work together, which is so nice to see. And as we know, as we've touched on in previous videos, they're still in the top 2. So they're 2 of the top 10 in the league for goals scored, right? And that's with Suzuki as well, with, tons of assists. Caufield's getting his points as well. So, I mean, it's looking absolutely incredible at this point. Like, I think that's our secret to victory is, like, as long as our first line's rolling, which, like, 90% of the nights they're going to, as long as we get some help from our depth, which they're more than capable of, with our good goaltending, with our defense coming along, we have a really good chance of winning the game as long as we do that.
Yeah, we do for sure. And for those viewers that want to see the graphic of the top 10, here it is. The cool thing is that, yeah, we have two guys in the top 10, but if you notice, Montreal is the only team here with two players in the top 10 in goal scoring. Now, there is someone tied with Caufield. I forget who it is at 11 goals. So I guess there's a lot tied with Rantanen at 6 with 11 goals. But still, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caufield are both there. No other team has two players. So we rave about Suzuki's playmaking, which is probably the best asset of his game, but at the same time, he's potting goals at a top 10 NHL player level. Now, his shot percentage is very high. It's probably going to come down a bit, but it's amazing that we can say how good of a defender he is and how good of a playmaker he is, and almost like just kind of accept that, oh yeah, he's also going to score a bunch of goals too. But like you said, Jesse, our depth scoring has been really impressive. I mean, last night, like the lines other than the top line were pretty impressive as well. We had that no goal. It was eventually reviewed to be a no goal that Sean Monahan had where he pushed the pad in.
That.
What's that?
I like that. I like that. I wish that would have been a goal. Going hard to the net like that, fighting for it, come on.
I know, reward the man. Like, I know the rulebook says no, you can't push the pad, and I understand why, but that line was so aggressive. They were all around the net, and it wasn't just them. It was also the Gallagher line. Gallagher, man, if he hadn't fanned on that puck twice, it would have been his goal. But no, Christian Dvorak, who, Jesse, we kind of mentioned this, but we want to ask the fans, does Christian Dvorak bear a bit of a resemblance to Michael Rappaport, to you guys too? We kind of see it. Let us know. Look at that. I mean, it's... So Michael Rappaport gets his first goal. But Dvorak, I believe that's his fourth of the season, right? He hasn't scored since his hat trick game, if I'm not mistaken. But even then, it was really a Gallagher play, like crashing the net. Puck right there. Dvorak comes in and scoops up the loose puck. But these lines were playing great, and I want to mention our defense as well. Mike Matheson coming back into the lineup, all over the score sheet, on the ice for some goals against, snipes a shot for his first goal as a Hab, gets a double minor. He's everywhere. Jesse, how did you feel about our defense last night, and especially Mike Matheson making that kind of impact upon his return?
Yeah, it's great for him, right? Just to get a flow of it, get his confidence back, going right away after being out for a prolonged period of time. But like I was saying before, like I think our decor is great so far. But I mean, just with having Matheson back, it's just adding so much. The fact that it's bearing fruit right off the bat is just amazing for this team.
It really is. And I thought the defense last night was interesting, especially since yesterday. If you didn't catch the video yesterday, I know I only put it up about 2 hours before the game, but I mentioned in there that Coach St. Louis has mentioned that he's going to go with a rotation of Harris, Kovacevic, and Xhekaj. Those are going to be the three guys that are going to be rotating into that sixth defenseman spot for the rest of the season, really, until maybe someone stands out above the rest. And last night, unfortunately, it was Jordan Harris that got scratched, and I thought Harris has been playing great this season. Maybe not the best last couple of games, even though he got a goal, but he only has less than 30 games under his belt. He's still learning. I think it's a fine time to scratch him, especially against a Philly team that is so big. You almost need Kovacevic and Xhekaj in there to counteract that physicality. And we saw Xhekaj drop the mitts last night, Jesse. What'd you think about him going after Nick Deslauriers? He looked exhausted at the end of his shift, but he said, you know what, I don't care. I'll drop the mitts anywhere, anytime.
I love it because it just shows so much heart, right? You're there at the end and you think he's a young guy and, oh my goodness, I got to keep up my reputation. I got to stay in the NHL. Like, this guy, he's battling like every game, every shift, because you know that he wants to stay there. So just to have the courage, just to, even Nick Deslauriers has been in a couple of years in the league longer than him so far. And just a challenge, a big customer all the same. I mean, just shows a lot of heart, shows all the reasons of why we think that he deserves to stay, because things like that bring a lot to the team. He motivates his players when he does this. Don't get it wrong, Habs fans. Like, this is a very important part of our team. And just showing his young leadership skills, Josh, I've said it to you, is like, I'm not surprised this guy, maybe 5, maybe longer, but he might get an A for the Montreal Canadiens if he sticks around, because he has just the makings of a great leader, I think, with this team. So I think he's bringing so much to this team. I'm so happy of what they're doing of having the rotation of players. I think it's the perfect way. And I know we talked about in our last video, do we think that Xhekaj should be sent down for Matheson? And I think that St. Louis agreed with us that the right idea is definitely to keep Xhekaj up. We're going to obviously have to take people out, but let's do it in a rotation so we're all getting to learn, but playing at the NHL level that we've shown that we deserve to play at.
Yeah, and I thought he looked pretty good last night too. And again, he has this uncanny ability to like just get the puck to the net when he's at the blue line. It feels like his shots rarely get blocked, and he's the one. He shot it for that Michael Rappaport goal there. I mean, it was the rebound from Xhekaj's shot. And he's just been so physical. He brings so much energy to the team. His teammates love him, so much chemistry, and man, I'm just so happy to have him up. I'd love to see Harris again on like different matchups, different nights. You maybe need skating instead of size, but I think what Coach St. Louis is doing is perfect. It paid off last night. Quick at the end of this too. We got to talk about. We didn't even mention Suzuki's filthy shootout winner. Hands of, like, I saw some people say it's like a Galchenyuk shootout move, except it actually goes in. And I was like, yeah, I mean, really it was. Suzuki is just phenomenal. It's crazy to me that we played. I mean, maybe we didn't have the best game last night. Allen definitely did not have his best game last night, but Montreal fought back from being down 2-0 in the opening minutes of the game to come back, tie it with under 2 seconds left, go to a shootout, and Suzuki bails us out in the end. Man, I'm so proud of this team and their ability to come back from behind whenever they get scored on. Is there anything else you wanted to hit on, Jesse, before we conclude this up?
No, I think you said it all, buddy.
All right, thank you. Well, that'll do it for this game reaction edition and news edition, I guess, of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We want to hit 5,000 subs before the end of the year. It's a crazy goal, but we know you guys can help us out with it. I'm your host, Josh Gosse, for my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.